Test, test. It's working. Okay.
You like when services are in there?
You do your thing. I'll do
Would you like to light your black candles?
Oh, sure. I gotta get
Shabbat
my,
shalom.
I need a book.
One of the guys cracked the.
Well, Shabbat shalom, everyone. I apologize for the late start. We had some technical computer stuff, and with the weather, I want to make sure people at home get the stream, but I think it's working, yes? We're good. Okay. No idea what the problem was, but it's fixed. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Thank you for braving the weather and coming out. You can't really see, but I can see right out the double glass doors, and it's pouring, but that's okay. We need the rain, right? Don't know if we'll still need the rain in a few days when it's still raining, but for now, it's good. We're going to begin with lighting the Shabbat candles. My mom is going to light it for us. We're on page 2 in our prayer books. Page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thanks, Bob. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Page 7. Together. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Page 10. Top of the page. Together. Hine ma tov umanaim shevet achim gam yachad. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת achim gam yachad. How good it is and how pleasant it is for us to be here together tonight as we celebrate Shabbat. We're going to take a moment now to quiet down, to transition from the week that just happened into Shabbat, from the busyness of our lives, the tasks that we have, the anxieties that we have, into this period of rest and calm and quiet for Shabbat. We continue quietly. So we come together as a kahila, as a community. It's our opportunity to check in with one another, to share with one another. If anyone has anything significant from the past week or that you're looking forward to in the week ahead, I'd like to share. Love to hear what's going on. Mark.
My older sister and her entire family are packing up and moving to Israel.
Wow.
Husband got a job there. They're leaving New Jersey, and my mother's a bit upset, but it's the right thing for her.
Okay. How long has this been in the works?
A couple months.
Okay.
It's happening very quickly, so she barely has time to speak to me because she's like, I got this, that, and the other, sell the house and pack it up. But I'm actually happy for her. This is what she's always wanted.
Well, good. Hopefully it's a good move for her.
Tomorrow is my 1 year anniversary.
1 year anniversary. Congratulations. Happy anniversary. All right. We'll continue with Lecha Dodi on page 20 in our prayer books. When we get to verse 9, at that time, everyone's invited to stand to face the entrance to welcome Shabbat. Page 20. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem ultiferet v'letila. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 9, please rise. Bo'i v'shalom materet bala, Gam b'simcha uv'toala, Toch emunei am segula, Bo'i chala, Bo'i chala. Lecha Dodi likra kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Please remain standing for the Chatzi Kaddish, page 26. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv. Ve'imeru, amen. Yehi shemei Rabba mevorach, le'alam u'lal me'almaya. Yitbarach, yitbarach, ve'ishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei dekudasha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, namiran be'alma, ve'imeru, amen. Page 28. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Please be seated. Top of page 31, we continue. This is a prayer for creation. We give thanks to God for the natural world around us, and that within nature, that's the miracle that we see. That miracles aren't the exception to nature. It's not the breaking of natural rules, but rather the world and everything in it, everything all around us. That's what we give thanks to God for. Page 31. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars together. Creator of tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Page 32. Together. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo, Yisrael. Please rise. Page 34, we continue with the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadevarim haele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshochbecha uvekumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Leman tiskeru va'asitem et chol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lihiot lahem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Please be seated. Page 39, in the middle of the page, we read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. Together, the high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Page 40, our prayer for redemption. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot o sefele, nora tehilot o sefele. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei yam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Ze Eli anu ve'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Page 43 in the middle of the page. It's the interpretive version of the Hashkivenu prayer. Hashkivenu is our bedtime prayer. It's what we say when we're preparing to go to sleep for the night so that sleep can be restful and that tomorrow is a wonderful day. We read together page 43. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, al kol amo Yisrael, ba'al Yerushalayim. Page 45. A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity and utters a day. Please rise for the Amidah, page 46. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Ruchata Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen. Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Vezrat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהלוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. Page 54, together. You set aside the seventh day for your name, the pinnacle of creation, and you blessed it above all other days, more sacred than all festival times. So it is written in your Torah, the heaven and the earth were finished in all their array. On the seventh day, God had completed the work that had been done, ceasing then on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, and ceased from all the creative work that God had chosen to do. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel, who sanctifies your name, may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lehodot. We continue now with silent prayer. Yehiyu leratzon imre fi vehegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri Vegoali, Vegoali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Amen. Continue on page 253 with a prayer for healing. Anyone would like to share a name with us, someone who's sick or hurt, so that together we can pray for them?
David Bledsoe,
Thank you.
Juan Adomunde.
Thank you.
Steph Salmonets.
Thank you.
Hannah Menaker, Sam Menaker, Diane Menaker.
For those names that have been shared, for people that we're thinking about, we say Misheberach Avotenu v'Imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, Hu Yivarech et HaCholim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Alehem, Lachilimam u'Rufotam, Lachizikam v'Shlach Lahem Mehera, Refuah Shlema Min HaShemayim, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, Hashta Bagala v'Zman Kariv v'Nomar. Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say, Amen. Together. Misheberach Avotenu Mekor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu Mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Amen. All right. I got another handout. If everyone could take one and pass the rest around, please. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. You know, earlier this week, Mark, you gave a great Devar Torah on this week's Torah portion. Balak, I could have asked you, Mark gave a Devar Torah to the entire board on this week's Torah portion. Could have just had you bring it with you so you could teach it again. It was fantastic. This week's Torah portion is the prequel to Shrek, and it features a talking donkey. The Torah portion is Balak, and the section I brought with you is not about the donkey so much, but it takes place in the wilderness. It takes place when the Israelites are traveling. I was going to walk around, but that puts me this is a very big piece of furniture. I feel slightly trapped, but that's okay. We're in the book of Numbers, where the Israelites are wandering around for 40 years in the wilderness. And it's usually like one bad thing after another that is happening to the Israelites. This week, it's like not disasters that happened to the Israelites, but disaster averted. It was one of those very rare stories where things could have gone wrong, but they didn't. Which just goes to show, wait long enough and something will change, something different will happen. The story is that Balak was a Moabite king, and he saw all the Israelites, and he decided he didn't like the Israelites. So he hires a guy named Balaam, who is a soothsayer, diviner, prophet for hire, curser extraordinaire. I don't know what the job title is. He's somebody you can pay a lot of money to, and he'll curse whoever you want him to curse. I imagine it pays well. But you have to be good at your job, because if a king hires you, pays you a whole lot of money, and then you're not very good at your job, there's certain risks involved, I imagine. I don't know what the contract, the disclaimer says, like asterisks. But anyways, here we go. So let me look at the first page. This is just the very beginning of the Torah portion. It says, the Israelites then marched on and encamped in the steppes of Moab across the Jordan from Jericho. That means the Israelites are about to head into the promised land. The Jericho River is, the Jordan River is what they cross over. And Jericho is like the first place they end up in the promised land. So they're right there. But, verse 2, Balak, son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. Moab was alarmed because that people was so numerous. Moab dreaded the Israelites. And Moab said to the elders of Midian, now this horde will lick clean all that is about us, as an ox licks up the grass of the field. I love the metaphors, because the metaphors are like an insight into their everyday lives. It's like, oh, that's the comparison that comes to mind. I remember when, this is an old story, but it's in Israel, and there's like a whole line of ants. And the Americans said, what is this, a rodeo? And the Israelis said, what is this? Yetziat Mitzrayim, what is this, the Exodus from Egypt? Everyone's metaphors is like an insight into the culture and into their... Anyways, now this horde will lick clean all that is about us, as an ox licks up the grass of the field. Balak, son of Zippor, who was king of Moab at that time, sent messengers to Balaam, son of Beor, in Petor, which is by the Euphrates. That's a long ways away, not close by, in the land of his kinfolk, to invite him, saying, there is a people that came out of Egypt. It hides the earth from view, and it is settled next to me. Come then, put a curse upon this people for me, since they are too numerous for me. Perhaps I can thus defeat them and drive them out of the land. For I know that whomever you bless is blessed indeed, and whomever you curse is cursed. It's like one of those stories where you look at Balak and you're like, what, you don't like the Jews? It's like, they're a nice bunch of people. They're not going to do anything to you. But what strikes me is it kind of parallels in a little way the story of the Hebrews in Egypt. Because right here it says that Moab's big concern, or Balak's big concern, he was the king of Moab, is that they are so numerous and their numbers are something to be feared. Does that mean that the Israelites are actually out to get him or actually out to steal from him or whatever? No, it's not. It's not grounded in reality. It's an irrational fear. It's a fear. It's a fear we can understand because he's talking about it, but it's not rational. And that way, I put down the next block of text. This is what Pharaoh said when he enslaved the Israelites 40 years earlier, or 240 years earlier. But the Israelites were fertile and prolific. They multiplied and increased very greatly so that the land was filled with them. A new king arose over Egypt who did not know Joseph, and he said to his people, look, the Israelite people are much too numerous for us. Let us deal shrewdly with them so that they may not increase. Otherwise, in the event of war, they may join our enemies in fighting against us and rise from the ground. And same thing in Egypt. What did the Hebrews ever do to Pharaoh? Nothing. But he was afraid of them. He said there's too many of them. And so his fear translated into oppression. Or in this case of Balak, his fear of the Israelites turned into him going out and hiring a curser. Going back to that story of Balak and Balaam, the next thing is one verse. It says, in the morning, so Balaam finally makes his way over to Balak. In the morning, Balak took Balaam up to Bamot Baal, and from there, he could see a portion of the people. The people he can see a portion of are the Israelites. And that's an interesting verse. He's up on top of a mountain, and he can only see part of the people. The simple understanding of that verse is there's so many of them, which kind of backs up Balak's fear, right? There's so many of them that even if you were to climb up on the mountain and you get a bird's eye view, there's so many of them you still can't see them all. But Rabbi David Wolpe has a great way of reading that line. He could only see a portion of the people. He says in one sentence, you have the pathology of hatred. The hater does not see a full human being or a full people. The hater encounters one who is successful and sees only the success and not the effort and pain and work it took to achieve it. The hater comes across a people who have the full range of human characteristics, good and bad, but does not see the good. The hater sees only a part. That's to me, a really interesting way of reading that verse. From there, he could see a portion of the people. That doesn't mean, according to this reading, that there are so many of them he can't see them all. What that means is he looks at them and he can only see the bad in them. He can only see the negative, the downside. He can't see the full range of humanity within the people that he's looking out on.
Not much has changed.
Not much has changed because human nature is human nature. I think there's a decent reason that the Bible is like a New York Times bestseller for 3,000 years running now. It's because people look at it and like it still makes sense. That what does it mean to not like a person? It means that we can only see this one aspect of them, or we can't see the full range that makes them human. Continuing with what Rabbi Wolpe says. It's much harder to be prejudiced when you actually know someone, their story, their struggle, their dreams. The more isolated we grow from each other in our nation, the more resentment festers because we caricature the other side. In numerous studies, each political party believes the other is more extreme than it is when you ask the people of the party. We see a part and decide we know all. The Jewish people have been victimized by this partial knowledge repeatedly in our history. People see us from the outside, like Balak and Balaam gazing from afar. That's Rabbi Wolpe. Sforno, that's the next text. Sforno is an Italian Renaissance era rabbi. Italian Renaissance era rabbi. When he wrote a commentary to the Torah, I don't know, 400 years ago, 500 years ago. And when he wrote this commentary to the Torah, he's got this great introduction to it. He says, there's already a lot of Torah commentaries out there, like even 500 years ago. There's already a lot of Torah commentaries out there. Why do we need another Torah commentary? And he says, well, in our day, his day is Italian Renaissance. In our day, people don't care about Torah study anymore. They don't come to synagogue as much. They're not very religious. It's like the Torah doesn't connect to them. They don't see any value with it. So I'm writing my commentary for these people. I think, okay, nothing ever changes. But he writes, in order to harm them, so that Hebrew, Vayera misham kitzeh ha'am, he sees a part of them. That's what the Hebrew is. He sees a part of the people. He sees a part of the people in order to harm them by focusing his evil eye on them. A different verse in Deuteronomy chapter 34, verse 1, is an example of the very reverse, bestowing a blessing. And this is Moses. Moses looked at the people with a benevolent eye. He blessed them. In both cases, it's focusing on the act of seeing. Moses looks at the people and sees one thing. Balaam looks at the same people, Balak looks at the same people and sees something totally different. Because how often do two people look at the same thing and see something totally different? It's like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Can't the gold dress? Oh, I remember that. Yeah, you remember that internet thing? Like everyone was arguing over what color the dress was. I remember that. Yeah, it was white. I don't know why everyone was arguing with me. It's clear. What is it? It's like, but it makes sense because people are coming at things from different perspectives, right? You know, like I'm one person. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm a rabbi. All these things. I could go on with some jokes and talk about the negative things people say, but that's not true. So I don't want to repeat lies in this area. But people see the same person in different ways. Same thing here. Moses looks at the Israelites with a benevolent eye. He sees something good, and that's blessing. Balaam, Balak, they look with their evil eye, and they see the reverse. Because it's almost Olympics, you remember that movie, Cool Runnings? It's from 1993, and it's a movie about the Jamaican bobsled team. It's one of the best movies of all time. If you've not seen it, prepare for the Olympics by watching Cool Runnings. It's really, really good. Anyways, there's this scene with Yul Brynner and Junior, and Yul's trying to give him a pep talk and saying, like, you got to be confident in yourself. And he says, look in the mirror and tell me what you see. And he says, I see Junior. That's who he is. And he says, you see Junior? Well, let me tell you what I see. I see pride. I see power. And it goes on and on and on. And he tries to convince him. He's like, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? And he says, I see pride. I see power. How we see something affects the reality in a lot of ways. And that's kind of what Balaam is trying to do, is to make the world what he sees, into the image of what he perceives it to be, to turn his perceptions into reality. And in a lot of ways, our perceptions have this habit of becoming reality. And maybe that's Balaam's great power, is to see something in a certain way and then to work to make it that way, to turn his vision, literally his vision, into reality. Okay, going to end with one last thing. Two last things. Brett Stevens, columnist, he wrote a column several months ago called Anti-Semitism, A Guide for the Perplexed. I was reminded of this because I was watching on YouTube earlier today. He was having a sit-down interview with Rabbi Angela Buchdahl, who's the senior rabbi of Central Synagogue up in New York City. So the two of them were having a conversation. It's on YouTube. It was an interview. She interviewed him. Anyways, he offered up his own definition of anti-Semitism. It's only his own. It's not the dictionary definition. No government has adopted this definition. It's just his, but I thought it was interesting. He said, it's a conspiracy theory that holds that Jews are uniquely prone to use devious means to achieve malevolent ends and must therefore be opposed by any means necessary, including violence. That's his definition of anti-Semitism. I think it's actually pretty interesting. You know, conspiracy theory, let's test it out on the Balak Balaam case and Pharaoh's case. A conspiracy theory that in Pharaoh's case, they're going to join in war against us. In Balaam's case, in Balak's case, they're going to lick up